College football is finally over. Alabama wins the national championship, but there's going to be some big names coming out of last night's game. Let's look at all the players that the Jets could be looking at for this upcoming draft. Jets, Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, Alabama winds up winning the national championship 52-24 over Ohio State. Really not a close game as of like the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter on. It just got blown open, and man, it was a fun game to watch. And thank you to all of those who tuned in to hang out with us. But let's jump into the game. Let's talk about some of these players and what we want to sort of see and what we're excited about and what we're not excited about, I guess. But all right, so Justin Fields, this was like the main guy we're looking at going into this game, and he put on an absolute clinic against Clemson. So we're going into this game, we're hoping we could see something similar, so that way his draft stock just shoots up. So whether you're looking to trade out of number 2 or you're looking to take a quarterback, either way, it would look good for the Jets. Unfortunately for Jet fans, that wound up being a pretty disappointing game. Justin Fields ends the day 17 of 33, 194 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 6 rushes for 67 yards. Now, to me, Ohio State going up against Alabama, even though this isn't the defense of old from Alabama, they're still littered with a ton of NFL caliber talent. So it wasn't a good stat line. When I'm looking at Justin Fields, I don't think he was 100% healthy. I think the hit he took in the Clemson game prevented them from utilizing him the way they probably should have. It didn't look like he let the ball rip down the field like he did last weekend, but maybe that's Alabama's defense being better than Clemson, and Olave was just covered more of the time. I don't know. It didn't look like a traditional game from Fields, and I would have to say, as a fan looking on at the number 2 overall pick, now I'm back in like the confused bandwagon. Are we back on Fields? Are we on Wilson? Are we trading out? Are we keeping Sam Darnold? This game didn't really go very far in terms of confidence towards that number 2 overall pick one way or the other. But Joe Douglas, I'm sure, has looked at all the tape across the whole season, and I don't think what we saw out of the Clemson game or the Alabama game from Justin Fields is going to be what we ultimately grade him on. We're going to be looking at his entire body of work, and over the course of the last 3 years, he's really graded out well. He's gotten better in each of those last 3 seasons. The one throw, he had one nice throw. I'll give you this. The one nice throw he had a nice, I don't know who it was to off the top of my head right now, but it was in like the front corner of the end zone, and the receiver like almost had it. Like I thought it was a touchdown, and I was like, oh man, Justin Fields. But it was just overall a pretty depressing night as a whole for Justin Fields. So it's a little confusing, I guess. Next player I want to talk about is someone that I think could be a target for us at the 23rd pick or the 34th pick, and that's Najee Harris, the running back for Alabama. He is a beast. The dude's like 6'2", 230 pounds, and can just run all over the place. I loved what I saw out of him last night. In total, he had 29 touches, 158 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Oh man, this is the kind of dual threat running back you want in this league, because he had 7 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown, and 22 rushes for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. So perfectly split across all the touches and everything. I think if you can attribute 40, 50, 60 yards per game in the passing game as a running back, that just sets the defense on edge the entire time, because they don't know what to do with the running back coming out of the backfield. So I really like that. I thought it was really good to see him. Now, I still think 23, it's weird because I think 23 might be a little too early for me to take Najee. I would prefer to go maybe a different route than running back in the first round. But 34, if he's sitting there, I could endorse that pick. The issue is I don't know if he's going to make it to 34. So it's kind of this weird conundrum that Jet fans are in right now. But Najee Harris had a really good night last night, and I think Jet fans should be pretty excited, especially if we wind up landing him in this year's draft. And then the star of the night, Heisman Trophy winner Devonta Smith, goes off in like a single half a play. He absolutely goes off. He goes for 12 receptions, 215 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And oh my God, did he back up the hardware he got from the weekend before. Oh, Devonta Smith, you are a freak of nature. You had like literally all these stars in the Twitterverse tweeting about you. Like LeBron James, Devontae Adams, joking about how, oh, if you screw up my name, make sure it's with his name, because it's absolutely legit. Like this guy absolutely went off. He's 6'1", 175 pounds. Like I've said in the past, the weight is really going to be the biggest issue. And this was all in like the first half of play that he did. He wound up going out with a hand injury on this play here, and it didn't look good by the way his hand was wrapped after the game. I think it's probably a pretty serious injury, but that said, I don't think it's like a long-term injury like an ankle or a knee or a, something of that respect. So hopefully it winds up not being too big of an issue. But man, it was incredible. So let's look at his stats overall. He's been in college football for 4 seasons. 2017, only played in a handful of games. Had 8 receptions, 160 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that alone is like a pretty impressive stat line in the first year. Then he just gets better and better every year. 6 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns this year. He had 1,800 yards in 13 games. Devonta Smith, you are a freak, and you have now entered the conversation for Jet fans and just everyone in general. Are you a top 5 pick, specifically a top 2 pick? Are the Jets going to roll with Sam Darnold and roll with Devonta Smith at number 2? This is a serious question Jet fans have to ask, because we need weapons in the worst way, and this kid is he's got wheels. He makes play. The toe tap catch he had on the sideline was just a thing of beauty. This guy's footwork is incredible. Now, would I endorse the Jets signing him with the number 2 overall pick? For me, I have to say no. And I know I'm going to get some hate for this because he may not make it to us if we trade down. But man, that number 2 overall pick, a lot of it is going to have to come down to the quarterback. And I'm not saying the Jets should take a quarterback at 2, but I think if you're not taking the quarterback at 2, the amount of picks you could potentially get in a trade down situation, you have to look to move down if I'm the Jets. Now, if you're telling me I'm swapping down to 4 where Atlanta is, okay, I'll pull the trigger on Smith there, because I'm assuming Penei Sewell goes 3 rather. At 4 or lower, I would be all on board for Devonta Smith, because you're adding extra picks to your arsenal, because you're probably getting a first-round pick from Atlanta next year, and I would prefer multiple picks coming from that 2nd overall pick than using it on a receiver, which is a position that I would particularly like to handle in free agency, because there's a lot of really good guys that are available. But if the Jets wound up making the pick and they took Devonta Smith, oh man, this guy is so fast. I could get on board with having him on our team. There's no way you could get upset with having an elite receiver like that. He was behind Judy and Ruggs, and he looks to be just wildly better than the 2 of them. He is just so good. And this is without, he wasn't projected to be the number 1 wide receiver this year. Jalen Waddle was supposed to be. He goes down with an ankle injury. He actually was supposed to come back this game. He played, I think 3 snaps, 4 snaps, or something like that before going out with an injury again. But man, did he fill in. He has gotten better each and every single year. Okay, so national championship game over. I have no idea what we're doing with quarterback. Najee Harris, you're a beast. And Devonta Smith, oh man, could you imagine? Guys, let me know what you thought of the national championship game down below in the comments. Where do you want to go with quarterback? What do you think of Najee Harris? And Devonta Smith, what do you think of him? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.